I'm Andrea and my project's about photography. So reasons I chose this project were I've recently found a childhood scrapbook that was full of pictures from when I was small, and all of these photos have reminded me of things that I would never have remembered otherwise. At the moment I'm really passionate about taking photos, and I wonder how I'll look back on them in the future and remember things that I'm doing now. And lastly, I didn't actually know how a camera worked, but I was still using one every day. And I hope to pursue a career in photography and use my hobby to do something I love. So there were a number of things I wanted to get out of this project. So I wanted to know how a camera takes a photo. And I know my reasons for taking photos, which are to remember things, but I wanted to find out other people's reasons. And I'd heard about the concept of photographic memories, but I only had a basic understanding of them, so people remembering things after they've just seen them. And an idea that interested me was if our eyes could take photos. So I made my whole project about designing a piece of equipment that allowed our eyes to take photos. So carrying out my project. As a basis to start, I had to research how a camera actually worked. So it's just a simple process of light shining through a lens and bouncing off a mirror at a certain angle into a viewfinder that allows our eyes to see the image. When you press the shutter button, the light shines straight through onto your screen and it allows you to see the image. So, as some primary research, I sent out a questionnaire with several questions. I used 30 people, and from previous research, I found out that 70% of teenagers were using camera devices. So I sent it out to mostly teenagers because it was mostly applicable to them. So some questions I asked were, how many camera devices do you own? How often do you take photos, and why do you take photos? And over 95% of people belong to a social media that you could share photos with. And over 70% of people had over 6 camera devices in their house. So some answers I got back from my questionnaire were to visually document an event. If I was to remember it, I'd probably forget the details, and to show people events that they may not be able to witness, and also to capture unusual scenes. And these are all linked, so all of them were similar. Photographic memories, which are the term for it is an eidetic memory. So I got the official definition of it, which is the ability to record images and sounds or objects after only a few instants of exposure with high precision some time after exposure without basically prompts to help you remember them. So I carried out my own experiment. I created an unusual image so people wouldn't remember it easily. I sent it to them and they had 10 seconds to remember what was on the page and had 10 seconds to draw it afterwards. And the things that people mostly remembered were the colourful parts and the largest parts. They did sometimes remember the details, but the details were all mixed up and in different places, so just shows that it's so important to be able to take photos of things. Ooh. And this is a video I made of the project.
I think it would be a good idea as you wouldn't have to carry around that much technology and it'd be in your eyes, so you wouldn't really have to click any buttons. It'd be a bit lazy, but it would work.
You'd be able to like store everything in your brain.
Because you can snap up all of like the good shots that you don't have time to get your camera out for.
I think it would be a good idea, yeah, because then we could have like memories in our heads and we won't have to store them anymore, they'd be stored in our heads.
I've actually always wanted that. I've always dreamt of like having our camera.
Oh.
No.
Oh,
Current
no.
slide. It's all right. Second one. There you go.
So because I haven't finished my project yet, there's a number of things I hope to do in the next few weeks. So I want to get some research from an optician to help me design my eye camera and design my eye camera using feedback from people. Thank you for listening.
Oh yeah, it's a fascinating idea. I mean, you've covered a lot of ground with this one. I've done a lot of travel myself, and even the other day I went back over all my photos, and it brings back memories. It's quite an interesting way that photos work. My question is, every phone now has a camera in it, or most phones have a camera in it. Do you reckon we're taking too many photos, and the value of the photo is decreasing? All these selfies and rubbish photos that come out.
I don't think any photos' values are decreasing. You take them because you like the look of something, so you wouldn't take it if you didn't like it. So I think you like all the photos. It depends where you take it or how much you like the thing you're taking a picture of. So yeah.
Do you think a photo can get in the way of experiencing the event?
Well, I think people can be intrigued to experience the event again or another time.
Yeah.
So on holiday brochures, if you see a nice picture of a place, you'll want to go there and experience it.
Okay. What made you link eidetic memory to your project? What was the driver for that?
Well, people take photos because they want to remember it, but the people with eidetic memories, they don't necessarily need to take pictures of things, they can just remember it in their brains. So I've heard of it before, and I really wanted to link it together because it's called a photographic memory and it linked to my project. So I wanted to experiment with it myself and try and find out more about it.
Did you actually meet anyone with eidetic memory? Or?
No, there's no scientific way of proving that you've got it, but there are only 10 people in the world that claim to have one, and I think 7 of them are in America.
What is going to be the final output of your project? Is it some artifact? How will you present all these findings?
It will be a paper design. It won't be an artifact because there's so many parts of your eye that it's so fiddly and so many different ways to present it. So a design on a piece of paper would be best.
Yeah, so all those wonderful photographs though, how will you actually show, all that man-hour, all the time you've actually put in?
I've got a photo album.
Oh, so you have a photo album as part of the project
Yeah.
qualification. Okay, fantastic. Thank you.